They've never cleaned things up since grand jury, I see.
Ma'am, you are Jessica Pruitt?
Yes.
All right. This is case number... I'm not sure of what I got here. I guess I do have. I have 11-DV-16. I also, in this case, we have 10D-19. Mrs. Kurt, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right. This matter comes on for hearing. Now, Mr. Pruitt has a pending petition for modification of the parenting plan. Is that correct, Mrs. Pruitt?
Yes.
I don't have that file. I knew that we had continued it to May 17th. Do you know when
I
they
think the DV was continued. The new modification has not yet been set for hearing, so I just filed my answer on the 20th of May.
Okay, so you haven't gotten a new date yet in the mail?
Not for the modification, no. I just got the order dismissing the contempt and dismissing the previous modification.
Okay.
And I just filed my answer to the new one on the 20th, I believe it was.
Okay, so we actually are here on 11-DV-16 and not on the underlying case,
Right.
10D-19. I wasn't sure when I had these whether we had both cases, because sometimes we're pretty good about getting things back in here. All right. Do you desire to go forward with your petition now?
Yes.
All right. Would you state your name?
Jessica Tierney Pruitt.
And Mrs. Pruitt, are you a resident of Pleasants County, West Virginia?
Yes.
And were you at the time that you filed this petition?
Yes.
You were formerly married to Eric T. Pruitt, is that correct?
Yes.
And you all were divorced here in Pleasants County, West Virginia, is that correct?
Yes.
And you all have one child together, that's Noah?
Yes.
And Noah was born June 15, 2009, is now almost 2 years old,
Yes.
right? Okay. Do you know where your husband lives? Or ex-husband, I should say.
No, I do not.
Okay. Now, you have filed this petition alleging that something occurred on or about April 20th, 2011, and then continued. Is that correct?
Yes. After he found out he missed the
Can
hearing.
you tell me, in your own words, what happened?
Well, he found out he missed the modification hearing and called me and blamed me and was irate. Showed up at my house that following Sunday.
Well, let me get dates here if I can.
Yeah, I have.
Let me see, I have a calendar here in front of me.
I have everything written down too.
I'm aware that you all had a hearing set on May 17th, but this occurred all before May 17th.
Right.
Is that correct?
May 17th, because it was set in front of, I think, Brian Dempster?
Judge Dempster.
Yes, and he couldn't hear it because there was a pending case in front of you, so he continued it to the 17th, and then I had to continue it due to work. We had the hearing on the 19th, so it would have been that Sunday after the 19th. I'm not finding the date. He came to my house. My mom was there. The door was locked. We didn't let him in because he had texted me first and said he was in the food giant parking lot, and I said, I didn't want him in my home because every time he comes there, it's a big fight, and we have to threaten to call the cops to get him to leave. So we didn't let him in, and then he left. And then my mom left, and a few hours later, I went to take my trash out, and I found like a toy laying on my doorstep. So he had been back in my building, and has, after that, continued to harass me through text messages, voicemails, emails. He also, around that time, was placed in Valley Health mental health in Morgantown. And at that time, I'd received a call. He was talking about being suicidal. If I didn't let him see Noah, he was going to cut off his hand. And this was all in front of his treatment team. They had him on speakerphone, and I ended up having to hang up on him because it was just not something I wanted to listen to. And just things like that had continued, and I was really afraid that he might show up and do something because of his mental instability. And just, I never know where he is, and, he could just show up at any time, and I live alone with my child. So my mom talked me into coming to the magistrate and talking. Well, I called Family Crisis Intervention before that, and I told them what had been going on, and they suggested I come here. So my mom came with me to the magistrate, and they decided that yes, I should. I was eligible for the protective order. He did continue to contact me that weekend after the order was in place. However, I don't think he had been served, and I just ignored his phone calls. I think once he was served, he stopped contacting me. And then I've been in contact with his mother because I still talk to her, and she, visits with Noah and things like that. And she has not heard from him recently. However, she's afraid to even let her in her home because last time he was there, he, said he wished she would just die and how she was an evil mother, and he was saying this in front of Noah. So she won't even allow him in her home. I think she had to threaten to call the cops that time, too, to get him to leave. And he has a history of crimes, violent crimes, robbery, theft. All this I found out after we were married, which scares me. There was also a case where it was interference with child custody. I'm not sure what that means, but that concerned me as well. He's so used to living underground that I'm just afraid he's going to take Noah and disappear. Or, feel like he can do anything to me and not get in trouble for it. And I had been saving the phone messages. I have some of the text messages saved, but my phone only saves them for so long. And my mom was going to call AT&T to get copies of everything, but my brother had an accident at work, second-degree burns, and he had to be sent to the burn unit in Huntington. So we've been dealing with that family crisis the past couple of weeks, and I just haven't had a chance to get everything from AT&T, but I can if I need to.
April 26th,
that's when he was put in the mental health. He went to Ruby.
But after that, he showed up on a Sunday then? Is that what you're saying?
It was the Sunday before that.
Okay. Sunday, so it'd been the 24th.
Yeah. And then I think, that Wednesday or Thursday, I got a call from him saying, I'm living in my van in the Walmart parking lot. Even all your friends can laugh at me now. And then the next message I got was he was at the Ruby ER having panic attacks and was on suicide watch, and I guess they transported him to Valley Healthcare. And I talked to him while he was there, and I tried to get him to let me, or sign something for me to talk to his treatment team because I didn't feel he was being honest about his mental health. And I think he needs treatment for his mental health. And he stayed there for a few days, and I forget what medication they said they put him on, but it was not a bipolar medication. And his mother, I know, tried to get him to go back there because she didn't feel that he finished, didn't think he followed up like he was supposed to. And he was being very manic, I guess, at the time, and calling constantly. And the day I filed for the DV, he actually showed up. I got a call from his mom, and I guess she had talked to him and said he said he was in St. Mary's. And I was worried, so I left work, and I went to the daycare, and I got Noah. And he had been to my mom's house and left a box of stuff it said my name on it, and it was like various food items and things. And I filed the DV that day because I knew he was in town, and I was afraid that he was going to do something. And he's constantly saying things like Noah is his sanity, and he, that's what keeps him together. And I just feel like that's a lot of pressure to put on a child.
Excuse me, Judge. Clerk's office just handed this to me and said this needs to go to the judge before the Pruitt hearing.
I'll read this urgent message from Judge Holland on the 9 o'clock hearing. Of course, it's now 9:23. Sorry, this is Eric Pruitt. I'm having car trouble and cannot be there. I need to give you this information. I have done nothing wrong. I've been a resident of Pittsburgh for 10 years. I'm an artist and been working on building a business. I have a job in a nice house that I rent. Over the years, I've been interviewed by the Pittsburgh City paper, and I guess that would be starred in a documentary about Pittsburgh. Jessica has misrepresented herself to maintain exclusive custody. Jessica is guilty of domestic violence, and she did attack me so many times. She hit me, degraded me, and destroyed my business. These documents can tell you more. I cannot deal with her anymore. The letter from the doctor should explain this. Jessica does not want to get caught. This is what she is afraid of. She is not afraid of me. I have never touched her or would. My father is old order Amish, and I hold many of those beliefs as my own. I stopped in at the St. Mary's Police Department to talk to the officers about my rights. Officer Bourne can confirm the date of April 29th. On that date was an arranged visit, and behind the closed door at the time of the visit, Jessica's mother sent me away. These are the documents that I told you about. I've been trying to get there to hearings, but things keep happening. I want to be part of my son's life. They outline the problems he has been causing. These hearings should not be taking place in West Virginia. Pleasants County is an inconvenient forum. There is significant evidence of domestic violence. These hearings should be taking place in Pittsburgh. I will be mailing the other documents and photos mentioned to the clerk of courts. My telephone number is 412-951-1736. We've also already dealt with the issue of jurisdiction in the case. And then goes on to say the father of the child does attest and affirm that the best of his knowledge is to be true. The mother, Jessica Cruitt, and the child, Noah Cruitt, did with malice and forethought seek to abduct and remove the child from the shared custody and care in the state of Pennsylvania on or about the date of February 1st, 2010, taking the child to St. Mary's, West Virginia, Pleasants County. She did so by acts of intimate terrorism and domestic violence, wherein she eroded the financial and emotional stability of the father, Eric T. Cruitt. She did so with the assistance and encouragement of Marilyn A. Cruitt, the grandmother of the child and mother of Eric T. Cruitt. Jessica Cruitt did then file paperwork with the Court of Pleasants County, West Virginia, intending to conceal the truth and enable her to stay in this state while engaging in acts of maliciousness centered at keeping the father of the child in fear, off balance, and alienated from the child. The father of the child submits careful documentation with this statement, humbly seeks a criminal investigation into this matter. These are all documents. I thought he had documents. These are all documents prepared by Mr. Cruitt, apparently. I thought he had something here from a doctor. Something signed here by Timothy E. Kelly. I guess this is a picture. Here's something from a Valley Healthcare System, Ali Slavishi. April 32, it may concern Eric Cruitt was currently under my care at the Valley Crisis Unit. He's being treated for adjustment disorder with anxiety stemming from inability to see his son. If possible, I would recommend that Eric be appointed a mediator so he does not have to contact his ex-wife directly. Communication with his ex-wife causes him severe emotional stress. Contact me if you have questions.
I have that same picture.
Okay. But that was okay. I'm going to grant the protective order. That'll be good for a period of 180 days, and let's figure out what 180 days is. I think I have it here. It appears Mr. Cruitt represents a significant threat with his erratic behavior and his history of mental illness that evidently has some severe threatening behavior. Mr. Cruitt's erratic behavior is a big concern. Mrs. Cruitt, you're going to be somewhat responsible, of course, for your own safety. This order will be in effect for a period of 180 days. That'll be until start tomorrow, so it makes it a little easier to figure out. 30, 61.
Your Honor.
Yes.
Mr. Cruitt is on the phone, and he says by rights, by West Virginia law, he has a right to speak by appear by phone?
I cannot allow him, I'm on the record, I cannot allow him to appear by phone. I'm not going to.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Another 30. 22. October's 153. November 27th. During that time period, if Mr. Pruitt has any contact with you, Mrs. Pruitt, you should simply call the police. We may have another hearing, you know, on his motion.
Okay.
That's fine. You'll get an order in the mail for that. Unless this order is modified, he's to have no contact with you. Pages there. Okay, if you'll wait outside, we'll give you a copy of the order then. Again, I think we're going to have to be vigilant with part of Mr. Pruitt. I mean, we don't know what he's going to do, but you'll have this order to get to law enforcement, okay? All right, thank you, Mr.
I'm a little more worried now.
Yeah.
I have a question too. I might be starting a new job. It'll be similar to what I'm doing, but it'll be through Board of Education, and I think my pay will be different. Do I just submit that to the court so that they have
At
record?
the time of the next hearing, yes.
Okay.